Hi, I'm Debbie Ahearn, and I'm going to give you a demonstration on a local landscape, or waterscape, I should say. Okay, first things first, you need to have your palette ready to go before you obviously start painting. And we use a pencil so you can sketch in your horizon line and the little building over here and whatever might be over here too. It looks like houses further away. I'm going to use a marker for this demonstration so that you can see it on this video. It's hard to see the pencil, it's so light. Okay, so to set up your palette for this particular landscape, you'll need white, yellow, orange, preferably a cadmium orange, red, alizarin crimson preferably, and then we have ultramarine blue. So right there, your red, yellow, and blue, those are your primary colors. And you can make any color out of those three colors. And then we have black. So we have the white, yellow, orange, red, blue, and black on your palette. And so when you lay it out on your palette, I'm just using you could use a plastic lid, a paper plate, but I put my colors along the edge from like a rainbow, going from light and working my way to the darkest color. All right, you leave the center of your palette for where you're going to be mixing your colors, because most of this is a mixing of colors, and most of painting is finding that right mix. So don't be hard on yourself if you can't quite get it right. Well, it takes time. Okay, so here we go. Now, first thing I would like to do is see, okay, how far up on the canvas is the horizon? So if I use my hand to see where it is, indicate where it is, it looks like if I go like that and then move my hand up here, it's definitely above the middle of the canvas. So I want to roughly sketch in, I would say 2/3 of the way up. So I'm going to look at my canvas over here. If that's the middle, I'm going to go up maybe about that high, or maybe a little lower because the building looks like it goes up that high. So say this is my horizon line. Now if you have a hard time painting or sketching a straight line, use straight edge, a ruler, or whatever you have available. So let's say I roughly sketch in this horizon line. Just kind of put the horizon in. Okay, now it looks like that building is a little higher. Let's see, a little higher than that. So I'm going to sketch the building in here. It's kind of small because it's in the distance. And then it looks like it goes down on an angle. Use your pencil to get the angles right. And then it looks like the side of the building. And here, because the sun is setting, it's all in a silhouette, so you can't really tell exactly what it is. So we're going to just roughly sketch in. Well, it looks like there's probably some trees there. We can't really tell. It gets narrower. Then we see, looks like the entrance to the bay, and then we have, it looks like other trees or buildings, homes. Can't quite see because it's all dark, but you're just sketching that in. Then I would put the shadow of these homes or this silhouette and put that shadow in. So the shadow imitates what's happening up above, and it looks like it goes somewhat like that. And then on this side, it looks like it kind of comes down a little bit, and then it's straighter. I wouldn't even bother with all the little details. We're just trying to roughly sketch in where we think these buildings are. So I'm just going to sketch in about like that. Okay? Can you see that? You see, even with the marker, it's still hard to see. So let me go a little stronger with the marker. Okay, so now I get an idea of where the horizon is, what's going to be my sky, and then the sky is going to be reflected in the water. There's also a dock up front. So like I said, if you have a tough time with straight lines, use a ruler, use a straight edge, use whatever you need to get that dock in. So it looks like if I use my pencil, or marker, I look at the angle of the dock. It's the same on each side, and then I try to sketch that in. And if I look at where, if I follow through and see where it lands, it looks like it's landing past the middle of the canvas and almost angling to that part of the property. So I'm going to say it's probably about like that. So we'll put that angle in so I can get that dock in. And then you have part of the dock over here. So another straight edge. Makes it a lot easier to get those straight lines in when you're painting. Use what you can to help you out. Okay. So now I roughly have what I'm going to be painting. And it looks like that could have been lower. See now I should have looked at here and saw that this part of the dock is lower. So I might want to lower that. That we could paint right over, and especially if it's in pencil, it would be a lot easier. Okay, so now I would just sketch in part of the dock. And the reflection in the water. And I don't want to get into too many details. This is so we can get to the painting part. Okay, you obviously need a glass of water and a rag or a paper towel to, as you rinse out your brush, really rinse it out good and then dry it off on your rag so you can make sure you got all the colors out. Okay, next thing you do is look at, okay, what colors are we mainly dealing with? Now I see a lot of blues and I see mostly oranges or shades of orange, and then you have the black. So I'm going to mix on my palette. I'm going to take that ultramarine blue and I'm going to place some of it on my palette. And then I'm going to also, let's wipe this off a little bit. And then I'm going to go into my orange, take about, not quite the same amount, but I'm going to take some of the orange and put it right near it. Then I'm going to try blending the orange and the blue on my canvas. And if you have an exact amount of blue and orange, you're going to end up with a brown. So if you don't have a tube of brown paint or burnt umber and you need brown for a tree, say, you mix even amounts of the blue and the orange and you will come up with a brown. But we're not looking for brown right now. We're looking for a combination of these complementary colors, which are blue and not the orange on the color wheel. If you have more of the blue, you're going to get like a purpley color, which is in the landscape. It's what happens when the blue sky and the orange, the sunset, so the orange and the blue are complementing each other, reflecting in the water, and you're getting this purple color. So now I'm going to add a little water to that mixture I just got, and I'm going to go over very lightly. I'm going to start down here because it's dark. Always, it helps to squint your eyes. You see how the water looks much darker over here? So I'm going to use some of this mixture. I'm going to put this mix of mostly blue but some orange in there. Notice how it turned purple. And I'm going to quickly just put a little water too. Get rid of that white. I can go right over my dock because everything gets reflected. The dock isn't just gray. It's a combination of whatever's the sky is. It's reflecting right on the dock. So you can go right over that and it also, you should be able to still see it. Okay, so I'm just sketching in this color, okay? Then right a little bit above the building is some purple in the sky, right? So I'm gonna get that in there. More water than too much paint. We're not going real heavy on the paint, but we're just kind of getting in that color. You can pretty much go over quite a bit, except where it's real orange. I'm gonna avoid that. Okay, so let's see, and a lot of this is in the purple family. It gets lighter, but we'll go lighter as we just basically covering the canvas right now. And it helps up to seal all this white off. If there were white in the painting, I would say, okay, cover that, don't cover it up. Leave it the way it is, so you don't have to try to paint over a dark color. You don't want that, but there is no white in this picture, so we can use this color. Now I'm going to avoid where it's orange again, and I'm going to put some of this. Okay, so you pretty much covered quite a bit of the canvas with just the mixture of the orange and the blue, more blue than orange, okay? So now I go back and look at my image and say, now we need to rinse out the brush. And we're going to look at this other blue. And that's ultramarine blue, so we'll make another little mix of colors on the palette where you left room to mix. So I have the ultramarine blue, and I'm going to grab some white and not put it right on top of the blue, but near the blue, so I can gradually get the blue and a lighter blue, which ends up being a really beautiful periwinkle. And we're going to put some of that in the sky. Looks like you can go right over that purple that I did before, because I just kind of sealed the canvas. And now I'm putting in this beautiful sky color, which is the ultramarine blue and more white than ultramarine blue. So there's your, I need a little more water. So we have the blue and the ultramarine blue and the white, blending it. Okay, so now in here it looks, you can go right over that with this ultramarine, this periwinkle that we created with the ultramarine blue. And I'm moving it across my canvas, and it looks like it gets a little, keep going here. All right, still need a little more water. Ultramarine blue, a little more white. So we're using this type of canvas. It's a canvas board, but it really does soak up the paint. So now here it seems a little lighter, not quite that light. So you keep mixing. Like I said, most of painting is finding the right mix of the colors. So I'm going to put this blue in here. It's a little bit out there. It goes along the edge here. And I'm going to put some of this blue in here. Don't worry about that, because you're going to be painting that more of a grayish black and some grays, so you can paint right over it. Let's get more of this blue in here. Okay. Still need a little more blue and a little more white. Go a little darker. Save some room for that orange there. And maybe get a little of that blue in there. And you're going to come back in and paint more. Like, this is the first layer of paint. You can come back in and add to it. I think we could get a little more white in there. All right, now I'm going to go back to that mix of the blue and a little bit of the orange to get that purple color again. Again, more blue than orange. And in here, it definitely was more of those purple tones. And down in here, leave a little room for that orange. And as the sun sets, everything keeps changing. So don't worry if it's not exactly like that. Okay, well, the sun moved. It went down further. So you're just using your being creative. You just go with it. You know, if you want to make it a little darker or stronger, or it's up to you. So I'm just making this a little darker. It helps to squint your eyes when you're painting to see, especially if you're outdoors and you're really trying to look at a color, squint your eyes. It helps a lot. So I'm going to go a little darker over here. Okay. And with some a little darker in the sky. see where I'm going with this. Yeah, you don't have to work quite this fast, but this video, we don't want it to be too long, so I'm working a little faster than usual. Now I'm just rinsing out my brush. And now if you look at the image, what do you see now? Okay, so we have an awful lot of blues and blue purple or blue violet. Now I want to see about that orange color. So now I rinse out my brush really good, and I'm going to take some of the orange and mix it over here on my palette. Let's see, so I have a light orange. I happen to have 2 shades of orange in the cadmium family, and I'm going to put a little bit across here. And that might be too strong. Some people want a more subtle look. That's fine. Whatever fits your personality, go with it. This is, you want to try to play at this, have fun with it, and you'll gradually see, well, okay, let me try this, let me try that. And that's what makes it so exciting. You're experimenting. So now I see a little of the orange sky reflected down here. So I'm going to try to put that in there. This paint, acrylic paints, they dry pretty quickly, so you don't have to worry about it too much. And I'm going to get a little more of that orange. Looks like it kind of creeps in here on the other side of the dock. Okay. And then I see it in the water. A little bit up here, but not too much. I'm going to blend that to another color. I think there's more of a pinkish, pink and salmon color up here. So now let me just continue with the orange and the sunset. So this is reflecting into the water. All right. And then it looks like it kind of goes on the side of the building a little bit. But it also looks like it goes across. Okay. All right, so now I want to take some of that white and the orange and blend it. Let's see if I like that color. It's not still too orangey. I'm going to take a little bit of the yellow and the orange. So the yellow and the orange, and let's see what I come up with. And a dot of red. See if I can get that salmony color in there. A little yellowy, but a little more yellow down here on the top of the building. So I'm going to use a little more yellow to get that yellow in there. And let it bump into the orange. Don't be afraid to let it be like nature. And I'm just following it along the land. And it's definitely in the water. Let's see. And I'm going to get a little bit more yellow in here. Okay. And I'm going to use a little more white, a little yellow, and the orange, but a drop of the red. So if I mix red and white, we get pink, right? And some of the clouds up here have a pink tone to it. So I'm going to take a little bit of red and a little bit of white. See if I can get that pink color and let it bump into the orange to get more of a salmony color. All right. Yeah, it's a little too orangey up here, so I like that drop of red, a little white for the pink, and a little of that yellow. And I'm going to put that in the sky up here. To look like a landscape, a sunset. Okay, so I might use a little of that pinkish color in here too. And let's see. Down. A little music in the background is always nice. Kind of keeps the brush moving along. I'm going to rinse that out. And now I want to play around with the black. Because I need to get rid of this white and get that get the silhouette of the buildings in. So now I'm going to rinsed off my brush. I'm going to take some black now, and I'm going to go in with the building. Sometimes it helps to use your other arm, or if you have, oh, I don't have it here right now. Okay, well, I'm going to use my arm and lean on part of this easel to get that straight, oops. Or like I said earlier, if you need a ruler to get that straight edge, whoops, have to clean that up a little bit. Now I'm going to try to get that building painted in and right into the shadow, or the reflection I should say. So we're putting that black in. Oh, look at how powerful it looks next to that orange and yellow. And now, whether these are other homes, not sure, but they look like they're a little more rounded, so I would almost say maybe it's just trees. But that's not that important. It's in the silhouette, so I'm painting it whatever I think it might be. And change, that's the beauty of painting. I don't have to do it exactly like a photograph. And as far as like, oh, how do I use the brush, or how, everyone has their own style of using the brush. You'll see what type of brush strokes you're most comfortable with. It's like Van Gogh. I mean, he had a very distinct brush stroke, but everyone doesn't have to paint like that. Okay, so I'm trying to fill this white in with the black to get that. My brush might be getting a little dry. Get a little water on your brush. A little more paint. I'm going to go on to this side. You know, if you see more angles, maybe they're buildings or homes, then give it some little more structure to it. It doesn't have to be quite so rounded. That's up to you. I haven't been to this place. This was a photograph someone gave me to use, and I thought that, yeah, it's nice and local. Let's go for it. And so now I'm just filling in this along the edge. Straighter. Looks like I could clean this up a little bit, make it a little straighter here. And this looks like it's on an angle. Okay, something about like that. All right, so we're seeing this landscape unfold here. So now I could take some of that black and I can go with this dock, put the dock in. But remember, as you put these details in, if you want to add anything to the water, then you have to go around these details. But for the purpose of this painting, I'm trying to show you how to get through it in a relatively short amount of time. All right, so this is where a smaller brush would come in handy, because the dock is a little more narrow and it's difficult with a big brush. But I'm going to start putting in some of the gray. All right. And if you can, try to paint in the direction of the wood. The wood slats are going horizontally. It makes them look more realistic if you can do that. Sometimes along the edge you gotta, it's a little difficult to do that. Now this, I forgot this was water, so now I really should rinse out my brush and get that blue water in there again. And if I squint, I see that I could go darker in here. And that's the blue and the orange, right? So I'm going to blend it, but not too much orange. And we could definitely go a little stronger in here. And a little darker in here. These canvases really do soak up the paint. Let's see if I can go a little darker in here. And not quite so straight. And maybe underneath the orange there was some dark. Just the way you look. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little more of that deep ultramarine mixed with the orange, creating that purple, dark purple water that's in shadow. And each time you go over it, it gets thicker and richer. So you don't want this to be the end of your painting. You want to keep going back in. And now in here might be a little, not quite as light. Whoops, it might have been a little wet back there. Okay, so you see where I'm going with this. It looks similar, but not exact. And I was having fun. I hope you were having fun too. Now give it a shot. Try it out. Remember your palettes, get that all set up. You've got your white, yellow, orange, preferably a cadmium orange, red, alizarin crimson, which is red, ultramarine blue, and black. And then next time we'll have some greens and teal. So, or we call that cerulean blue, another blue that you might want to invest in. But for now, you really only need your primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and your black and white to change the value. And the orange just makes it a little brighter. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you.